staying inside, cherishing the shade and the cool. But one group of North Texans braved the heat recently to honor a cherished tradition. Producer Katie Sherritt reports.
Just after dawn, on a hot August morning, the congregation of Temple Beth-El gathered to walk their Torah scrolls from their old building just south of downtown to their new temple in southwest Fort Worth.
Torah toters, well, walk out, they'll join you.
It was a trek of slightly more than 7 miles, but it continued a journey that began with Moses and the Exodus from Egypt.
It is a connection to our roots, going back to Moses and the children of Israel wandering for 40 years in the desert. They were walking, and they had an ark in which they kept the Torah and all the holy, everything holy, and they would shut it down, and they would all carry it to their next stop, to their next encampment. And so this continues that tradition.
The Torah is God's gift to the Jewish people and ultimately to the world. It's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, the 5 books of Moses. As we have removed these scrolls a final time from the Aron Kodesh and then from the building, let us pause to remember what they have meant to us.
The congregation was founded in 1902, mostly by American-born Jews. Our first building was down across from Bank 1. We were there till 1920, and then the congregation moved to that big building on Broadway.
The 2 largest were Beth-El's first torahs nearly a century ago. They have been with us through 2 world wars and a depression, and were carried from the burning building by Enoch Jackson, the congregation's African-American janitor, in 1946.
So we know that 2 of them survived the fire. After the fire, when we restored the temple, a man named Mr. Wolf passed away, and his employees gave us a brand new Torah for the opening of the new building.
In biblical times, everything was centered on one temple, right? And then when the Romans in the 1st century destroyed the temple, the fact that the rabbis had come along and created a different style of spirituality where you studied Torah rather than just bringing sacrifices made Judaism portable. Putting the Torah, the book, the scroll, at the heart of things made the faith portable. Any place you can get 10 Jews as a quorum together and a Torah to study, you can practice your faith with a magnificent temple like this one or in a little room. All it takes is faith and a community.
I feel like I'm walking in my grandfather's footsteps, great-grandfather, grandfather too. We've been involved with this congregation since the 1890s and carrying on a long family tradition.
The 2 newest and smallest torahs were created in Israel and call to mind the renaissance of Jewish life in both Israel and the diaspora since the Shoah.
A lot of hard work and care has gone into building a home and building a synagogue for the next generation of Jews here in Fort Worth.
But that's what a Torah looks like. That's handwritten with a quill pen and India ink by a scribe on parchment. And again, this Torah is probably at least 200 years old. It's very fine, thin parchment. And you can see that the scribe has lovingly decorated each letter. It's beautiful calligraphy. And God spoke to Moses.
The Nazis wanted to have a museum to Jewish culture. No Jewish people, just a museum to a dead race. And Hitler saved all kinds of Judaica, Torahs, ornaments, mezuzahs, and put them all in a warehouse, in an archive in Prague, Czechoslovakia. So over the years, one by one, many of these Torahs have been given to synagogues across the world.
They're gone and we're still here, so we're proud to be able to carry on and keep this memory of this community as well as this Torah alive as we use it. And one scroll comes from the vanished Jewish community of Yurivanus, Czechoslovakia, vanished but not dead. For as we carry these Torahs to their new home, the spirits of rabbis, bar mitzvah boys, bat mitzvah girls, confirmands, yea, all who learn God's words from these scrolls, travel with us. Mazel tov.
We always appreciate your questions or comments about the show. One viewer had this to say about our focus on the Republican and Democratic conventions. Kenny Onby wrote, "Please stick to local issues. I've almost stopped watching On the Record since you've started discussing national politics. If you do decide to discuss national politics with a local twist, such as on August 20th, could you please provide more balance? You have 3 or 4 people on espousing Democratic Party leanings and only one person espousing Republican philosophy." Call us with your comments at 214-740-9226 or send a note to otr@kera.org. Now, for our last trivia quiz, we asked what president named the first African-American justice to the Supreme Court. It was Texan and Democrat Lyndon Baines Johnson, who appointed Thurgood Marshall to the court in 1967. Thanks to everyone who called in. This 1948 photograph shows the Mustang Airport, located somewhere in Dallas. For this week's Brain Teaser, we want to know, where was it? If you think you have the answer, call 214-740-9226 or send it to otr@kera.org. That's it for our show. Remember to listen to 90.1 Radio for more local news, and we'll see you again next week.